Hi guys, this is Up to Dota and I'm going to go through a Morphling replay of mine and explain to you guys a bit about the game and the hero itself. Morphling is a hero I play pretty often. I have about 100 games in like the last 2 or 3 months. I really like the hero. I'm not sure if he's not really comparable to like the top picks like Juggernaut and Troll Warlord. But he's still pretty strong and he's really fun to play. So in this matchup I'm gonna talk about the picks first. So in this matchup I think they picked Juggernaut first and Shadow Fiend for mid. So I usually play Morphling on safe lane because I just feel like Morphling on safe lane is better than on mid, because I like to farm a bit more with it and get boots of travel up as soon as possible. But he's good against Shadow Fiend on mid because Shadow Fiend doesn't really pose a problem early game because he doesn't have damage like on level 1 and 2, so you can morph a lot of agility and have an edge over him in terms of creep score. So the average MMR for this game is about 5.5k I think. I think this Juggernaut is higher and some other players also higher. So we picked a Spirit Breaker with it, which is really nice because then we can get a nice amount of aggressiveness up. So let's just skip it for a bit. And I'm going to go into player perspective. Okay, so starting items. Usually I want to get pulled, but seeing that we only have a solo support, I tend to just buy my own regen and just buy some stat items to go with it. I'm not one of those players that whines completely if he doesn't get pulled, because solo support has it hard enough already as it is. So I just choose some stat items and some regen and try to get a bolo up as soon as possible. So blah blah blah, skip this. They deal some damage to the silencer, I think, yeah. Okay, so this is not really interesting. Okay, so I mess up the block. I mess up the block pretty terribly, which sucks, but it happens. It's pretty important against this matchup because getting the edge over SF is pretty important. So we de-ward their mid-ward, which is really nice. We really needed that. At this point SF already realizes that Morphling has a huge edge over Shadow Fiend on mid, so he calls a Silencer to come and help. So Silencer comes and helps and has Glaze of Wisdom on level 1. At this point I already asked the Spirit Breaker to come and help, because if he charges mid and I have waveform up and morph, there's pretty much nothing they can do because their burst damage is awful, and we can burst down the silencer because he doesn't really have enough HP and they don't have any slow or stun. So here I just level a bit, nothing really interesting happens. I'm just gonna skip it a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the basic idea. So the basic idea is that you morph as much agility as you can without really being at risk. So they don't really have burst damage, so if they go on me I'll have enough time to morph into more strength. And until Shadow Fiend has level 2 Shadow Rays, I don't really risk a lot. Once he does have it, I should either get an extra level in morph so I can morph faster to strength, or I should morph more strength to begin with. So here I take an extra level in waveform instead of morph. I should have walked the other way actually. Anyway, I take another level in waveform. If I had taken another level in morph, I might have been able to survive that, but I didn't really have enough mana for more morph, so it's questionable. But I don't know. We got a kill, so I feel like it's worth it. We just at this point I'm stressing to the Spirit Breaker to just keep up aggressive play on mids because SF is a really easy to gang hero. So at this point I get my bottle, I heal Spirit Breaker up a bit, We try to control runes because Spirit Breaker is pretty good at it, and Silencer wants to stay mid and try to gain the edge over the lane still. So he'll stay mid and harass me a bit. I'll probably use last word again soon. I don't know what this Spirit Breaker is doing. The side lanes are doing pretty fine. It's 2v1 on top, and yeah, Kunkka is staying out of range of it, so he's not dying. That's good. Sometimes you have this offlane which tries to get too much because he's afraid that he should get more farm than he does, but the most important thing on offlane is to just stay alive and maybe get a level or two. At this point Spirit Breaker tries to get a gang off on bottom lane, which I feel is kind of a mistake because mid are easier kills without any risk. Lion can just stun and Juggernaut can spin and they can kill anyone pretty easy. So I just tell the Spirit Breaker to come mid again instead of going bottom. Because if we win this mid lane and I get an edge, we can keep up aggressiveness and go even more aggressive and we'll be fine. So Silencer harasses me a bit and goes for a rune, which is a mistake because he's too far away from tower and we can kill him again. So here's another kill on Silencer. At this point Silencer is just 3 kills. I can get my boots up, which is pretty useful as well, because the movement speed of Morphling is pretty low. So I give my bottle to Spirit Breaker so he can get the bottom rune while I get some CS on middle, because that's always a trade-off. If you're gonna go aggressive, you're gonna miss out on CS. So it's kind of a risk. If you don't get the kills, then the opponent will surely get an edge because you will focus more on CS than getting kills. So at this point I'm playing aggressive on the Shadow Fiend again. He's trying to kill me, but the morph is pretty nice. I actually survived. Yeah, I think I actually survived here because of morph. Morph is really nice. Here in this case I even get morph over a waveform to just morph strength faster, because sometimes when you go really aggressive and you want to dive stuff, then the level 2 morph just doesn't cut it. It morphs more strength, and it helped me survive in that case, so that was really nice. So they just committed a bunch of heroes on mid. Necrophos came mid, Shadow Fiend died, and they got nothing out of it. And I survived, so that was really nice. I can't get my Aquila up yet, but that's what I'm going for. Okay, Magic Stick is always nice to survive these dives. So I just TP on mid again, grab my bottle and refill it. Heal the Spirit Breaker up a bit. And we just go for the next kill. I think, yeah, he charges... Actually charges Shadow Fiend, so... Shadow Fiend at this point is really easy kill. It doesn't even have boot shot. He has Aquila and bottle, and it doesn't really help when you have 2 heroes hitting you on bottle, so... the nice thing is that we have rune control, so we can keep up our mana and HP as well while doing this, which allows us to keep going. So at this point the Shadow Fiend has died twice, the Silencer has died twice, and we got 4 kills on Morphling me and 4 assists on Shadow Breaker, Spirit Breaker, yeah. So it's nice, and Kunkka is even getting kills on Juggernaut, so we're kind of dominating. In these kinds of lineups I'm pretty scared because I feel like their picks are pretty strong. So the Shadow Fiend tries to get away, but he doesn't know the power of Morphling. Yeah, this is bad movement by me as well. I activate this regeneration rune on the bad moment, and I feel like they're going around, so I stay here, but then Silencer comes and I just die. It's a dumb death. But in these aggressive games it's hard to keep focus because it's just so chaotic. And while Morphling is good at surviving, every now and then you make mistakes. I still have a lot to learn in terms of Morphling. I mean, I played him a lot, but to actually really master the hero is hard, especially when it's dependent on the matchup as well. Against Silencer, he casted the curse of silent after I waveformed, so I was silenced and I couldn't morph either. So Spear Breaker just keeps up the aggressiveness, which is really nice. I feel like we really need that because of these top meta picks like Juggernaut and Lion is pretty strong as well. Silencer is pretty strong. Our heroes are not that strong. I feel like Spear Breaker is actually in a pretty good spot at the moment. Okay, so I try to keep up the aggressiveness. Try to get a kill on Shadow Fiend, but I just lost too much HP and I don't want to risk too much. So I just go back to lane. So we try to control this jungle, because Sniper is farming on top lane, which is really nice, because in that sense we're always getting in some farm, which is important. Farm is really important about every game. I feel like a lot of players on lower matchmaking rankings kind of forget about farm, especially on these aggressive heroes, so I try to get in some farm. So my farm is pretty terrible at this point, but because I know that a Sniper is farming decently, I feel like it's an okay trade-off. Okay, so we try to get a kill on this Juggernaut. I'm not afraid of his ultimate because I have illusion. So I get a kind of a lucky spin there. Because otherwise if he would have spinned twice on me I would have died. I miscalculated the burst damage of Silencer. But at this point I feel like we can easily kill them. They don't really have too much burst at this point, so I'm not really afraid. Only the Lion can do stuff, but he doesn't have ulti yet. Once Lion has ulti and Necrophos has ulti, I have to be a bit more careful. So here they dive on the Shadow Fiends. I used Replicates on Disruptor in order to go back to base and heal up. And that's the nice thing about Morphling. If you manage to escape, and if you manage to escape and you have Replicate and a TP scroll, you can pretty easily just regenerate your HP and be back right away while the enemies are still on low HP. So I try to get a bit aggressive on this Necrolite, but I feel like I can't really kill him. And I see the Lion coming as well. Lion is level 7 now, so we have to watch out because his ulti is off cooldown again. See that this Spear Breaker is going for the Necrophos. I feel like it's an easy kill, but for some reason he cancels his charge. So here I die. I just get bursted down too quickly before I can morph. So this is why, like, the two things that are pretty strong against Morphling are both silences and burst damage. So we get the standard Mask of Madness Juggernaut. It's a strong pick. I feel like it's boring. It's being overdone now. But you definitely have to watch out for it. You can play much better, but these heroes with Mask of Madness like Troll Warlord, Troll Ranger, Juggernaut, that's so strong nowadays that you really have to be careful and not die too often, because they're just gonna get an edge and they're not gonna lose it anymore because they can go really aggressive with the Mask of Madness. So at this point I want to go for Boots of Travel. I feel like Morphling is really good with Boots of Travel. They buffed the cooldown on Boots of Travel in 6.82, which makes it really strong. You have almost infinite mobility with this item, and the movement speed really helps as well because Morphling is a pretty slow hero. Especially in these aggressive games, it's good to be able to be there when they need you. And it delays items like Yasha and Manta style, but I feel like it's worth it, the TP. I'm just a fan of Boots of Travel in general. So, talking about items, nowadays I tend to skip. I don't feel like Ethereal Blade is that strong anymore. It used to be really strong, but the fact that they nerfed it and it got a projectile means that it's easier for the opponent to dodge and it takes more time to get off the combo. So another thing I try to do is always use Replicate the illusion to either scout things, move it close to where I think a fight will break out so I can be there when it's needed. Another thing you can do is to send it back to base to escape any pushes. So I feel like there are too much heroes, bots are top in order to help. I don't feel like we can get kills there. Silencer is still there, Lion is still there. And the Juggernaut has actually pretty good burst damage. With his auto attacks just can get you down pretty fast. So I feel like not going there. Because I just got my Boots of Travel as well, and this really puts me in kind of a weak spot in terms of stats and damage. So I have to pick my fights for like the next 5 minutes or so. I really have to make sure that I'm not being targeted, because I can be bursted down pretty quickly. That's the only disadvantage I see of the Boots of Travel. In late game it's by far a superior build to Power Threads, I feel like. He really needs movement speed. So we just keep up the aggressiveness. If you look at these words, they are really important, because not giving the opponent any room to farm is nice. So we just get another kill, and I usually stress to get towers as quickly as possible as well, because it helps you establish some mob control. And these are things that are more important than kills. Kills allow you to gain mob control, but you have to get objectives. So either get down wards, or get towers, or get Roshan. So we try to get some more kills. This guy ultis the Shadow Fiends. Get another kill. I'm afraid of this Lion that he will ulti me, so I just morph some strength there in order to survive it if they go for me or if I get silenced. But he was silenced, so he couldn't go for me. So there I have a regen rune, which is pretty fortunate because I was pretty low. Always morph back into agility when you have some sort of regen. Players seem to forget it most of the time in the start, or when they start to play Morphling. It really sucks when you TP to a lane and you're still in full strength mode after escaping. So try to keep that in mind. You can see here that I move the illusion in a tactical spot. Sometimes I just use it for vision to see if then any opponent comes by. So I see my team is here, so I try to keep it there, so if they need me, I'll be there. So I try to get up some farm, because like I said, with Boots of Travel it's kind of essential to get in some extra farm, otherwise you'll just fall behind. Especially if you don't get kills in. So they go aggressive again. Spirit Breaker decides not to go in. So I see a fight breaking out. I think I'm gonna TP in. Yeah, I'm gonna TP in here. This is the nice thing about Boots of Travel. I can just come in from the back. I have a DD rune. So I get a kill on this one right away. And his Mask of Madness just ran out. So the movement speed really helps me here. I try to get auto attack in, but he is faster than me, so I just kill him off with Adaptive Strike. One thing to keep in mind is try to always leave some mana for either TP or Replicate, so use as little mana as possible. And try to not waste waveform to put yourself in a bad spot if you don't have to. So here, this is the strength of Boots of Travel. I just use Replicate on a hero and TP to base and TP back. You might say you can do this with power threats as well, but the amount of TPs you want to do with this hero allows you to save a lot of money, and it has a lower cooldown as well. So here we stay aggressive. It's a good thing that Sniper doesn't get... Sniper is good in these kinds of games, where you can be on the back foot because you have a Spear Breaker up in their face. Sniper can just use Mask of Madness and not really risk dying. So this is... I should have died here. For sure I should have died. This is like a very bad play of the Shadow Fiend. But I survived, so sometimes you get lucky. Like, people think that you should play perfect in higher MMRs, but people still make tons of mistakes. I make tons of mistakes actually. I still consider myself not that good at this game. I have a lot of experience, but I feel like sometimes I make mistakes that I should not make. And you realize this as soon as you stop blaming other people and start looking at your own play from a really criticizing point of view. So I knew that Necrolite couldn't kill me there. So we got another kill, which is really nice. At this point I have quite some kills. I still have like no CS, which sucks, but I feel like it's worth it, because you don't want to give Shadow Fiend or Juggernaut too much farm, and we have much more potential to fight. So if you just keep up in their faces and not give them any room to farm, eventually you'll win out, because you'll get kills and they won't.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I actually got a Yasuo up and I'm going for Mantastal, which is superior to Ethereal Blade. Lion will have a hard time choosing a target to hex. They have a lot of single. This is single target ability. Silencer, you can dispel his ulti with Mantastal. So here they get another quick kill on this Juggernaut. I think he used... wait, let me just go back. Let me just go back. I think he used... no, it was another time. Anyway... yeah, wait. So here I have Illusion. This is also really nice against heroes like Juggernaut and LC and Doom to bait out an ultimate. So the replicate of Morphling takes the same damage as normal heroes, so it can be pretty elusive. People will think that it's the hero when it's actually an illusion. So this is really a nice thing about the Morphling replicate as well. And I was talking about Mantastal. So Mantastal is pretty useful against Juggernaut as well, because you can use the illusions to take hits from Omnislash. Okay, something this is something I want to mention as well. It's pretty stupid, but I like to provoke if they use their ulti on Juggernaut used his ulti on the illusion. I try to say something in alt chat. Sometimes I'll do it, say something in alt chat in order to just provoke a bit and try to tilt the enemy, because I'm try hard like that. So Necrolite wants to go late game. He has Midas, but that's not gonna work against this kind of lineup. So there I use Adaptive Strike on him instead of Waveform, because then I can use Waveform to close the distance between me and Silencer. So we get some more kills. I have 11 kills now, and whenever the replicate's off cooldown I try to use it. So in this case I try to move it back to base so I can instantly go back instead of... Actually, I feel I can get Mantastal. I can get the money from Mantastal on lane, and then I can instantly replicate to the illusion and instantly be back in base and then TP back to a lane. And I don't really feel threatened at this point, because Lion doesn't have ulti, Necrolite doesn't have ulti. I know this because they just use it. So here I farm up enough money for Mantastal, and well, the illusion walks back to base and it saves me time.
Radiant's
Efficiency
middle
is
tower
really
is under
important
attack.
with this hero. So now I have Manta Style, which is really nice. I can dispel stuff, I can play a bit more aggressive, because I don't have to be afraid of Silencer ult. So what I explained in the quick tip number 4 is the fountain mechanics. If you TP to a lane, you'll regen HP and mana for a bit more, so I just TP'd here and
Radiant's middle tower
instantly
is
used
under
Adaptive Strike because I was gonna regen to full HP and mana anyway. Can burn down a little bit of Juggernaut's mana, HP. So here I use the illusions to get the tower just to be safe. They escape, we waste Disruptor ulti, but we get the tower, so it's worth it. And at this point Sniper is pretty strong as well with Maelstrom and Mask of Madness. With attack speed, Sniper is just a beast. So here I feel the Necrophos is dead. I might want to go in, but I want to regen a bit, and the good thing is that I can regen these guys as well. So I just move the illusion there, and I regen them. Yeah, they get a kill, which is not good. Shouldn't give Juggernaut too many kills. That's the reason why he's so strong, because even if he's behind, he can get a kill with Omni Slash because it's not dependent on his farm. And he can catch up pretty easily. So here I see the Shadow Fiend is taking quite some damage, so I just want to go in.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's an easy kill.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The Lion is dead, so he can't burst me down. Silencer is dead, so he can't ulti. And I'm not really afraid of Juggernaut at this point. He can't really kill me that easily. I have Waveform, I have Morph. So at this point we have pretty much full control of the map. And let's see if I can get up net worth. Yeah, I'm the highest in net worth. I need to get up this graph. I don't know how I do this. Yeah, team net worth. So I need this. So if you can see that our fights and us controlling the jungle is really giving us an edge. They don't have room to farm, which is really important, because if we went back to farm, I think we would have lost, because their heroes are strong. And the Necrolite is, he only has Hand of Midas, so at this point I can just easily kill him. I morph some strength because I'm afraid of the ulti, but he can't kill. So mana is pretty important on this hero, because if you run out of mana you can't morph, you can't waveform out, and you lose all of your mobility. So when I have Replicate off cooldown and I have TP off cooldown, I usually try to use it to regain my mana. And because I have quite a good streak, I don't want to risk dying. So I skip Ethereal Blade as a whole. I just feel like having more stats will help me survive the ultis, not die. Here I had the chance to go in, but I felt like it was too much of a risk. I didn't see this guy, I didn't see this guy, but he has Blink Dagger as well, so I would have died if I went in there. So I just let it die and walk back to lane. So here we give up some kills. We are a bit too aggressive, because I'm not there. So my Boots of Travel is off cooldown again. This is the nice thing about Boots of Travel. The low cooldown helps you. Even if you lose the Replicate, it will help you get back to lane faster. 50 cooldown, it's so nice. So at this point I'm not afraid anymore, especially if I get tapped by Skadi. Skadi is pretty strong against these carry kind of heroes because it slows their movement speed even through BKB. So this guy is gonna get, yeah, he already has a BKB. So it doesn't matter, he doesn't have attack speed. I'm not sure if Omni Knight dispels the attack speed slow. It's actually pretty relevant, because the attack speed helps you get in extra hits for in the Juggernaut ulti. So at this point we just want to get Roshan. If you make illusions and you use your move command to move them on Roshan, then they won't die. If you attack them on Roshan, they will die instantly. So it doesn't really matter too much because Silencer slows them anyway, but it's a nice little trick. So at this point, choosing the target for, or the one that picks up Aegis, is pretty hard because I'm able to survive most of its snipers mostly on the backlines, but if he gets bursted down, it's nice to have an Aegis. So I just try to keep up the mobility and the kills here, just go back a tiny bit. So I see that Spearbreaker is charging this Necrolite. Necrolite still only has Midas, he has 2100 gold now, so he can buy something. But I see this guy is going for it, and it's just an easy kill at this point, and the mobility is really so useful. I think going power threads would have been a huge mistake here. So I'm afraid of this guy, but I morphed a lot of, or at least some strength. So I could have gotten off Adaptive Strike, which got me some more stun. So it was nice. We just steamrolled them a bit, and the net worth is... I had a net worth. So I feel like we can kill heroes easier. So this is a pretty chaotic game. Keeping focus in games like this and not making mistakes is pretty hard. Like even for everyone in the team. I like these kinds of games, and I like looking back at them because then you can actually get a clear overview without feeling pressure that you have to keep pressure on them. So we just totally overrun them, and Sniper has so much farm. You can just get a Rex easily. There's not much they can do. They have like quite some forces to deal with if they want to push us back. So here I just use my Manta. Sometimes I tend to keep Manta for the Silencer ulti, but I don't feel like they can kill me. You have to take into account if you would rather push towers faster or be a bit less at risk. So another thing to keep in mind is what you want your illusions to do. If you want your illusions to tank, then you can morph a bit more of strength and then use Manta. If you want to deal more damage, you want to morph more agility, then use your Manta. And you can morph back if you have enough mana. So at this point we just pretty much won. We overrun them. And playing games like these, what's also really important is the psychological aspect. If a SF gets killed quite often in lane, he tends to tilt and just lose the game, and their team tends to flame each other and demoralize each other, and this is so important in games. This is why I also said something in all chat after Juggernaut used his ultimate on my illusion, because it really frustrates him, and frustrated people play a lot worse. So I hope this helps a bit. I think that there's a lot more to learn about Morphling than I explained in this game, but this is just my basic way of thinking when playing Morphling. There's a lot of... you have to adapt to the games, and Morphling is a really good hero for it. This is fun. So Morphling is a good hero for it because you can go in the safe lane and farm a lot. You can also go in the mid lane and be more aggressive. And this is why the morph skill, the third skill, is just so good. So let me know if this helps. I really certainly have some things to improve on in terms of speaking and commentating, because there's just so much to say and so much to explain and take into account when playing this game. I still, like I said, I still make tons of mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes. It's easier to notice them when you watch other people play, and people tend to not notice them when they play. But watching your own replays is good. So that's why I'm doing this partly. I do this more often, especially in games like this when it's hard to get a good overview. And when you look back at the games, you get a good overview. So like here, the movement here would have saved me. I should have done that. But I was too greedy, and I thought I could get another kill on this Shadow Fiend. This is maybe where another level of Morph would have helped me. So anyway, thanks for watching, and share your thoughts in the comments if you'd like. It'll really help us provide the best content possible. I might do a Medusa guide or Medusa game or Red game, because these are heroes which are one of my favorites as well. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys later.